Boom, and welcome to PFlax in the morning, TI13 edition. That's a long time. That is 11 years. I think I did the first PFlax in the morning at TI3. I think so. I'll check actually. Let's check on YouTube. YouTube, be good to me. PFlax in the morning TI3. Oh, this says, oh, that's episode 3. Episode 3 TI10 edition. TI3 days 1 and 2 recap, 11 years ago. Damn. Damn. I look a little thinner. My hair is a little darker, not quite as much grey. But still the same old PFlax. So, first of all, hello. How you guys doing? I tweeted last night that there wasn't going to be a late game this year. I tweeted last night about that just because people kept asking about it. And because I saw on the Reddit survival guide for TI, it said late game, and I just wanted to make sure that people knew straight away, ahead of time, there's no late game this year. We got 5 years of late game. That's more than I expected. I honestly thought we were going to get 1 year, and then they were going to go, this was terrible. And we did have a great year last year. Me and Jenkins, I think those we did the last 3 days, did the late game. I think we had 2 really fun episodes, and then the episode in the actual theatre was beautiful. It was a lot of fun, and just working with Andrew for that period was great because Andrew was fantastic, and working with him was an absolute pleasure. So I have no regrets. I'm not like, oh, no late game. It's like 5 years. Got 5 years of late game. That's more than I thought. That is honestly more than I thought. I was thinking maybe I would do like a live stream from the hotel bar or something like that at some point, do a sort of mini late game tribute. But look, I'm a very lazy man, so we'll see. We'll see. It's a thought. It's a thought. Just a little mini unofficial off campus late game. But yeah, but I don't know. Maybe the hotel bar wouldn't be happy with me streaming or whatever. But it's not going to be cameras. It'd just be on my phone. Might get away with it. Might get away with it. You never know. So I thought what I could do for this vid was rank personally my feelings about all the TIs I've been to. So I've been to 11 TIs. So we've got, I'm going to say, let's start off with just doing them in order. And I guess we'll do the tier list. S, A, B, C, D. Yeah. Which seems to be the popular way of doing things. A tier list. That way, I think it's quite a good system, honestly. A little better than the old 1 to 10 ranking, because some things are equally pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Some things are just like on a level where you're like, I wouldn't say one was better than the other, but they are both worse than this and better than that. So I personally think tier lists make a lot of sense. So I'm going to say in S tier, straight away, we can put TI3. I think that's an easy S tier right there. For most people I talk to, I'd say TI3 is the one that they think of most fondly. It felt like the beginning of the Dota scene, even though it wasn't, but it felt like the one where the most people arrived at Dota. We had an amazing storyline, great grand final, and I know, having spoken to quite a few of the players, that was their first exposure to Dota and Pro Dota. And when they saw that, they immediately wanted to play Dota. I did player interviews for the last couple of days. I did like sit down 10-minute interviews with players, and some really good chats with them. Yeah, found out like their origin story, if you like, about how they got into Dota. And for an awful lot of them, TI3 was the one that they watched. I'm sure it's true for some of you as well. You watch TI3, you were like, oh my god, I want to be a part of this somehow. I want to play this or be in the community or whatever it is. So TI3 S tier. And that was back when Dota was still like super brand new, or Dota 2 I should say. And I mean, I remember working that TI. I did not do much at all. Like, I'm not saying that in terms of my working there was very minimal. But I was just happy to be there, and met all these cool people that work at Valve, and met all these players and all these people like Blitz, who's now like an excellent friend of mine that I've known for 11 years and consider him a very close friend and love him. Met him at TI3, and it's just like we've all sort of grown together with that. And I've seen these guys go from being like kids to being sort of 30-plus-year-old responsible people. So it's quite funny to see that, really. So I'm going to put TI3 in at S tier. Sadly now, I think I'm going to have to go straight to D tier for TI4, and I think, you know what, I think that might be a little unfair. I'm going to put it in C tier, TI4. I know that some of you might think that that's wrong, and you might say, no, TI4 was the worst TI. I think a lot of the time we're thinking about the format and the final, because the format was that we had this group stage, and then the very first game on main stage, day one of main stage arena, that was a game that decided who one of the finalists was going to be, and that was Newbie, right? And then days 2 to the final were just knockouts, and all the other teams played out through this sort of weird filtering, percolating system until there was one left. So Newbie turned up, won one series, and then that was one of your finalists. And then everyone else was just playing for the other spot in the final. It was bizarre. So that was weird. Also, it was super sad because a bunch of teams just retired on stage after their series. Like, Na'Vi came out and were like waving goodbye, and everyone was crying and waving and stuff like that. Alliance came out and were like, we're going to, and everyone was like, oh shit, this is the end of Dota. They had the techies reveal. People forget that. That was hype. That was one of the most hype hero reveals. Nobody saw it coming. And then some of the games were pretty good. Actually, it was pretty shit, wasn't it? But, you know, TI4, I actually cast some of the group stage games for TI4. That's how few casters there were back in those days. I think it was like, we just cast from the office, from an office in Valve. We were like casting from a PC in there, I remember that. And TI4, lest we forget, was the Good Studio Hub, was before TI4. That was pretty hype. So there were some good things. There were some good things about TI4. And it was the first one in Key Arena. So a lot of people were like, I miss Battle Royale Hall, but it was much bigger, and it was probably the most hopeful TI. Everybody was really hoping it was going to be hype. And I think following on from TI3 is always going to be hard. And it just, you know, a lot had changed. They didn't have the seating quite the same way they did for subsequent TI. So I get it. TI5. That was the EG win. I'm trying to remember what I did at TI5. Maybe I was on the panel? TI5, Liquipedia. It always tells you what you did. I wasn't an analyst. Commentator? Interviewer? I worked it. Oh, I was down as a commentator. God. Oh! Was TI5 the newbie stream? Maybe? I can't remember, you know. I want to say that it was the newbie stream. But I don't think it was. I think that was TI4. Because that was another thing. The newbie stream was a lot of fun. Let's check TI4 Wikipedia. I couldn't tell you what I did at TI5. God. Yeah, I'm down as a commentator, as is Shane. So TI4 was the newbie stream, which was a lot of fun. And people really liked that. Although it was difficult. With 3 people, it was really difficult. I have no recollection of TI5 other than EG winning. I couldn't even tell you what I did. I'm going to have to put that in... I'm going to put that in B, even though I couldn't tell you why. TI6 is a tough one, because it was a great TI. They had the... It was at Key Arena. It was a beautiful summer. I was on the main panel, me, Charlie, and Cap, and I really enjoyed that. We had the puppet panel with the people that made Muppets came in and made Muppets, and then we had puppeteers and everything. Wings won, and they were brilliant. DC had that amazing run where they made it to the grand final. The crowd was going crazy. I'm going to put it in A tier. TI6 was great. TI6 was really great. I remember that as probably, from a personal point of view, that was the TI where I did the most. And was the happiest, I'd say, with how we did. Although looking back, I'm sure my panel time was bloody awful, because what are you putting me on main panel for? They had the draft panel and everything like that. It was good. For me, I really enjoyed TI6. Then we got TI7. That was the Team Liquid win. TI7, I'm personally going to put... This is tough. Am I ranking these by how I feel about them or how the people feel about them? I'm going to put them how I feel about them. I think that's fair. So, TI7, I was off main panel and I was on the content team. It was me and Hotbid and Slacks. And me and Hotbid just wrote content for Slacks because we were like, look, mate, you're amazing at being on camera and being Slacks. We'll Slacks you up. We'll write some stuff and you can Slacks it. And so that was just doing content, helping him and writing stuff and joking around. And it was fun, but I think I was on camera for like 10 seconds. I didn't really do much. People were like, were you at that TI? I was at that TI. But in terms of what I didn't do much. But I did have fun. So I'm going to put that in B tier. And it was a good TI. The liquid win was pretty hype. TI8 was, I'm going to put that in S tier. I know people might disagree. TI8 was obviously OG's first win, Vancouver, the first late game, the one in the pub, working with DJ Wheat. Great grand final. We had the big live stage show like late night afterwards. I think TI8 was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Had a lot of fun, and we filmed some fun content and stuff. And Vancouver was just beautiful. So TI8 was pretty fucking good. TI9, that was in China. Good games, good final, but a bunch of other problems. The hotel was nice. The catering was fantastic. It was at the Shangri-La Hotel. That was nice. But they had things like a certain number of fans had to be booted out of the stadium at the end of the night because you couldn't have that many people together after 10 or something like that. And China is a country that if you're not, I think, if you're not Chinese, it's probably quite tough. But also, because literally nobody speaks English, which is fair enough. But also, it's culturally very different from the UK. I didn't really get on with like the air, made my throat hurt quite a bit and stuff. The big city, Shanghai, is a little bit smoggy. It just wasn't my vibe, you know. It just I don't know. It was okay. As a TI, it was fine, but it was not my favorite. So I'm going to put it in C tier, in all honesty. The late game was fun, but I did the Chinese late game that year. If anyone remembers that, I had to go onto the Chinese late game and tempt a pig. Anyone remember that? I had to tempt a pig. So in that, I mean, that's bumped it up to B tier from C tier straight away. So TI9, TI10, that was the COVID TI, wasn't it? That was the COVID TI. That was the one with no crowd. Team Spirit's first win. That's straight D tier. That was just such a bad time in the world. And then the fact we managed to do a TI at all was incredible. But the fact that the fans were going to be there and then they weren't there, and then it was a nightmare having to navigate all that stuff. It was really cold. I was not expecting it to be that cold. I don't know why. But yeah, I'd say TI10, even though the games were great, Spirit's run was amazing. There were some great games at that TI. In terms of the lack of crowd, I think that is what the players really look forward to the most. I talked to all of them about it. And you get in the arena and they hear the crowd, that to them is like, all right, this is Dotes. Like, this is TI, or this is a tournament. All the group stage stuff, it feels like every other game. So the crowd makes it. And the fact that there was no crowd, through no one's fault, just fucking, if there was a pandemic, I'm going to have to say TI10 was the worst for that reason, although I think the games were fantastic. And we did somehow have a late game. TI11 was the one in, my brain's gone dead, Singapore. I'm going to put that in B tier. Actually, maybe I want to put that in A tier. I really did enjoy it. Singapore was beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to put TI11 in A tier. I know people thought that the split where we had the sort of smaller arena and then a break and then the large arena was a bit weird, but again, this was still post-COVID. It was kind of genuinely tough to book venues and stuff, and unless you were 100% sure that you were going to be there like 2 years ago and booked it then. Everywhere, all these tech bros were booking this shit up to do huge conferences to sell their fucking Bitcoin sandals or whatever. But Singapore was beautiful. Everyone there was really nice. The after party was great. We did late game. That was a ton of fun. The hotel was great. We had 5 days off to sort of hang around and eat and play Dotes and explore Singapore. I had a lot of fun. TI11 was a lot of fun. TI12, I'm going to put that. I'm going to put that I'm going to put that in A tier. I'm going to put that in A tier. The new key arena was gorgeous. I did late game with Jenkins, which was fantastic. We had a late night show again, just like the first time we did late game. We had a proper late night show. The theater, I hosted it with Jenkins, which was a ton of fun. We had Arvo and the exercise bike and all that. The games were really good. Team spirit were fantastic. It was really, really good. It was really, really good. So, yeah, I've got for final tier list. D tier is TI10 because of COVID. C tier is TI4 because bad format, bad patch. That was the zoo patch, you know. Grand final was like 3 minutes long or something. B tier I have TI5, 7, and 9. A tier I've got 6, 11, and 12, and S tier 3 and 8. That's my personal feeling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is 11. I obviously don't know where this TI is gonna fall. I've seen some of the threads on Reddit. You guys need to remember, look, I've been doing this for a very long time. Every year there's a big thread complaining about it. This is gonna be shit. Oh my God, can't believe it. And then TI starts and the games kick in and everybody starts having fun. I would say judge how much you enjoy the tournament based on the games. Because if we had everything you guys wanted and the games sucked, you would say this TI sucked. And if the games are amazing, everything else that you're missing, that you're like, what about late game or what about this? That's all forgotten. It's always about the games. Be honest with yourselves. It's always about the games. So I would say, let's just wait. Let's see the games. I know it's going to be hype. This patch is hype. Very fighty. All the players were like, oh, it's just going to be fights. So I'm looking forward to that. A European crowd who've never had a TI in Europe, they're going to be in the arena for the last 3 days. It's going to be great fun. So let's lift our spirits a little bit. Okay, let's lift our little spirits a little bit. And just remember, this is TI. Let's support the teams. Let's enjoy the dotes. And let's relax. All right? I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.